Apple is known for its multi-billion-dollar hits, but not everything Cupertino touches turns into gold. Here's 6 Apple products that flopped in the marketplace despite being pretty darn great. The Newton MessagePad. For many fans, no Apple product sums up the bad old days of the 1990s better than the Apple Newton, the company's first attempt at a handheld device. Despite never living up to the company's expectations, however, the Newton was brilliant and way ahead of its time. These personal data assistants came out with a touchscreen that could recognise users' handwriting. Newtons even employed artificial intelligence to recognise specific sentences. Writing a note about a meeting would automatically create a calendar entry for it. The first MessagePads suffered from shoddy handwriting recognition, but Apple fixed that in later versions. If you ever want to check out the Newton at its best, look for 1997's MessagePad 2000. It offered the device's highest resolution screen, which was a whopping 480 by 320 pixels in beautiful grayscale. It had a faster processor, longer battery life, and the ability to wirelessly exchange information with other users. Heck, you could even use it to access your emails and the internet via its en route iNet email client and NetHopper web browser. The G4 Cube. Very few Apple products looked as stunning as 2000's jaw-dropping Power Mac G4 Cube. That didn't stop it from bombing, however. In stark contrast to the ugly beige towers of rival PCs at the time, the G4 Cube was a 7x7-inch cube of clear plastic that appeared to float in mid-air thanks to a transparent base. Operating in near silence due to a clever air convection system, it was also surprisingly powerful. Apple even referred to it as a supercomputer. Despite this, Apple only ever sold around 150,000 units total, just a third of what it forecast. In Apple's words, the G4 Cube was put on ice on July 3rd, 2001, less than a year after it debuted. The 20th anniversary Macintosh. Confusingly, the TAM, as it's known by fans, was actually released in 1997, making it 20 years after Apple's founding, rather than 20 years after the debut of the Macintosh. The $9,000 computer, which works out to around $13,600 today, was the first flat-screen Mac, with a design that predated today's iMacs by the best part of a decade. Aiming to be a full multimedia computer, it boasted an integrated TV/FM radio system, S-video input, and a custom sound system designed by Bose. In a crazily extravagant flourish, the 20th anniversary Macs were delivered to your home via a limo, before being set up by an Apple employee in a tuxedo, which is the least I'd want when spending almost $14,000 on a computer. Despite all of this, it failed to sell. Apple only sold a few thousand units, and eventually the company reduced the price to just $2,000 before discontinuing the TAM. Today, it's a major collector's item that can still fetch up to $2,500. Macintosh TV. Unlike a lot of other items on this list, as far as I am aware, 1993's Macintosh TV has never gone on to become a favourite among Apple fans. But in 1993, many people would have been amazed, and it cemented just how far ahead of the competition Apple was for multimedia. The Mac TV was a weird hybrid machine that melded a Performer 520 Mac and a 14-inch Sony CRT TV. The idea was to extend the Mac's capabilities by allowing it to connect to a VCR, camcorder or video game console to create an all-in-one entertainment package. As such, it prefigured Steve Jobs' later digital hub vision for Apple's computers. Unfortunately, it flopped in the marketplace. Apple produced only 10,000 units between October 1993 and February 1994, when the plug got pulled on the Mac TV. The eMate 300. Do you ever wish Apple would take a page out of the Surface or Chromebook's playbook and consider combining macOS with iOS to create a touchscreen laptop? Well, Apple tried it way back in March 1997. Kind of. The colourful eMate 300, which shipped before the equally candy-coloured iMac G3 and iBook G3, was a clamshell portable device running the Newton PDA operating system. Priced at $799, it was one of the cheapest computers Apple had ever produced, and a stab at getting Apple products into the hands of kids who could use them for learning. With that in mind, Apple only marketed it to the education sector, which didn't seem particularly interested. The eMate ultimately died in early 1998. But Steve Jobs tapped into a lot of what made it so important. Its Johnny Ive-led industrial design, its focus on ease of use, and its lowest price point, to help turn Apple round again. The iPod Hi-Fi. Released in 2006, the iPod Hi-Fi was a boombox style speaker that rethought the home stereo for the iPod generation. Or as Apple said at the time,
it's really home stereo reinvented.
Audiophile Steve Jobs even told the audience at its launch event that he ditched his crazily expensive audio setup for an iPod Hi-Fi. Its clean design and great sound quality eventually earned it a cult following. But at the time, most viewed its $349 price as way too expensive for a fancy iPod dock. A recent post by Cult of Mac editor Leander Caney, however, shows how it continues to live on more than a decade later. It can even be used as part of a homebrew HomePod substitute until Apple gets around to releasing its Siri smart speaker. Any other suggestions? Apple has released hundreds of products over the years, so there are bound to be other Apple machines or devices you feel never got the respect they deserved. Are there any personal favourites that stand out for you? Let us know in the comments below, and subscribe for more great videos like this one.